Okay, here's another good one. Do you know what an IPO is?
Oh, dang. I definitely have heard of this. Investment portfolio opportunity. Final guess.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Cash Flow Podcast, the number one podcast in the
Number
world.
one
Just kidding.
trending.
Yeah. My name is Clint Hansen, and today I'm joined by Mckay Parsons. Mckay, would you like to
Yeah.
give yourself a little brief introduction?
Yeah, special guest. I just to introduce myself. Yeah, my name's McKay. I just finished up my undergraduate. I'm actually studying to become a dentist, so I'm a little bit of a different world, just for the viewers to get to know me. So I'm really not in finance at all. My wife is in finance, so I hear a lot of the words, but I don't understand a lot of the words, to be honest. And I understand that this podcast and honestly, cash flow as an idea as a whole is about teaching people like me, to learn more about finances. I have a decent background in like being smart in the sense of I try not to spend a lot, but I don't have a great education in it. So if you told me that I'd ever in my life be on a finance podcast, I did not think this would happen. We can just say that for sure. But luckily, I'm here as a student, not as a teacher, and I hope I can provide some value.
Right. Yeah. So Mckay and I have been friends for a little bit now. I was originally good friends with his wife, and that's how we met. And so that's as Mckay kind of explained. I wanted to have Mckay on because he doesn't know a whole lot about finance, and the whole goal of our podcast is to teach people who don't know much about finance how to manage their money and things like that. So Mckay told me he listened to our last episode and wanted to talk more about that. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to do that. So today we're actually going to talk a little bit about a little bit more about the stock market. Just to review real quick, last week we talked about navigating the stock market and the various ways that you can invest in. We talked about what it is, how to make money off of it. We also, before that, we talked about some common misconceptions. And then finally, we kind of jumped into the recommendations that I had. And so Mckay listened to that. And so with that as a background, we're today going to talk a little bit more about the stock market jargon. So particularly, I'm going to name a stock market term, and Mckay is going to try to guess what it means, or if he knows what it means, that's great, and then we can talk a little bit more about that in depth. And then we will define it, talk more about it in depth, and then we'll move on to the next one. So yeah, should be a good episode. You ready to do it?
It sounds great. Little testing. I'm always up for it.
Yeah, Kay's an excellent student. He's starting dental school soon, so.
Yeah, yeah. I'm good at what I do. We'll see about this one though. It'll be a
Yeah,
fun one.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's hopefully the goal is for everyone to learn
Mhm.
finance from this podcast, because it's not that hard. Finance majors, they don't know as much as you think they do. Just kidding.
Easy major, easy
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Well, I wanted to start off kind of basic and then move on to more complicated. So let's start off with what is a stock?
Okay, hey, I got that last podcast. So me and the
Yeah.
viewers that have been following along, we're gonna get the review from the stock, that kind of introduction to it. I remember being really interested when you talked about how the stock market originated. It was people physically selling stocks, and I had no idea about that, and that was kind of mind blowing to me because that just seems so different than the way I visualize it now, right? So
Right.
that kind of gave me a better picture of what a stock even is. So I guess a stock is kind of like a part of a company almost, and you get a own part of the company, not that you do anything ownership wise, but that you are invested in it and you pay for that percentage.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So it sounds like McKay was listening to the last episode.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, one for one.
Yeah, so a stock is basically a little tiny portion of a company, and the one thing I will say is to kind of shape your definition is you actually do get to do stuff in that company. So depending
Okay.
on the type of share it is, which we won't dive too deep into that, but a lot of times you have voting rights. So one stock will
Oh.
give you one vote in the company, which is probably not that much because there's like billions, probably not billions, but like millions of stocks in a
Okay.
given company. So but you do get a vote if you really want to on certain things that the company does. Um, Particularly, the big one is they will elect board members.
I've always heard
Um,
about board members. Yeah, I've never really understood that. That's interesting.
yeah. So the board, um, that's. I'm actually not sure if people on the board. I'm sure they own some part of the company, but
Hmm.
they're like in charge. They're the big guys. So the
Okay.
CEO, you've probably heard of
Hmm.
CEOs.
Yeah.
They'll report to the board, who reports to the shareholders. So that's
Okay.
kind of how that structure works.
So you do have a little bit of influence, might be strong, but you have a little bit of say here and there. Okay, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, right. So yeah, so that's a stock. As simply as possible, it's just a piece of a company, and it's
Okay.
probably really small, unless you own a ton of stocks, which is possible if you're rich. But yeah, awesome. Okay, let's go to the next term. The next term is dividend.
Oh man. We started good and I'm already I'm kind of out of here. Let's see, dividend. If I had to guess, I'm hearing a similarity to the word divide. So I'm assuming nah, I'm lost. I'm gonna let you take the wheel on this one. I
That's
don't
some
remember.
good. That's some good English uh,
Some deduction
origins of
there.
English. I
Yeah,
don't know.
origin of the word.
Yeah, but that is good. So I guess using the word divide, we could say so a dividend is when they take like profits that the company's made and they divide it up into all their shareholders and then they pay them that dividend.
Okay.
Yeah. So not all companies do this, but some do. They'll just announce every time they announce their earnings or their profits. They'll say we're also going to pay all of our shareholders like 25 cents for every stock they own.
Huh.
So if you own like five stocks, then you'll get like $1.25. It's usually not very big, but if you
And
own a
that's
lot
just
of stocks, then you get
huh.
more. But yeah, sorry.
And that's just in addition to because your value, the stock value goes up. So you're not like
Right.
selling the stock to make money. You're just getting like a bonus almost. They're just like saying thanks.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So
Cool.
that's kind of the two main ways to make money on the stock market is one is through your stock going up in price, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
and then the second one is through dividends. Sometimes the company will divide out the money they make and pay it out to you.
Interesting.
It's yeah, it doesn't not every company does that, but there are you can look up like dividend stocks that are known for paying out a larger dividend. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Great. Okay, so that's a dividend. Um, the
Okay.
next the next terms are kind of go together. So it's the bear market and the bull market. Have you heard of those?
I think I remember you talking about a bear and a bull one time.
Yeah.
I can't remember though. A bear market and a bull market, they're like two different
Yeah.
markets. Yeah, I'm lost. I wasn't prepared with the zoology
Okay. Yeah.
here.
No worries. Those ones are also kind of well. I don't know about difficult, but
Well,
if
we'll
you don't know
teach
anything
away
about
anyways.
finance,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So a bull market is just when the stock market in general is doing really well. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you ever go to New York, outside the New York Stock Exchange, they have a big statue of a bull.
Yes, yes, I
Um,
know that. I know of this. Yeah.
right? Yeah, you've probably if you've been to New York, you might have seen it before or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's hopefully like for good luck. Hopefully there's a bull market.
Okay.
And then on the other side, there's the bear market, which is a bad market. The stocks aren't doing very well.
Interesting. Okay. And you describe how the market is doing. I'm struggling to see how that would be used in a sentence. Like the market is bearing. I'm not
No,
sure how to
yeah,
use
good
that
good
verbiage.
question. So if they want to use it as an adjective like that, they'll say bullish or bearish. So
Oh,
If you
no
say
way.
like, I think this, if someone says, I think that this stock is going to go up, they might also say, I'm really bullish on this stock. Or if I
I've
think it's
definitely
going to
heard
go down,
that.
I'm really bearish on this stock. So yeah.
Bearish, I haven't heard. Bullish, I've definitely heard. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. People use it outside of finance as well. But yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you hadn't heard of that because that was fun to explain.
That's good.
The way to remember it, actually, I just learned this like a couple months ago. The bull's horns point up, so that's for the stock market to go up, and the bear's
Okay.
claws, when they put them out like this, point down, so that's for the market going down. So
Okay.
I thought
I
that
love
was
a
interesting.
visual. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So that's bearish and bullish. Here's a fun one. This one's a little more niche.
Okay.
Um, what do you know what a penny stock is?
Okay. Okay. Maybe, I think I do, but I realize I might have just oversimplified it like 5 years ago and just been satisfied with that information. I might go 1 for 5 here. But
Mm-hmm.
a penny stock, I always thought it was just a really, really small stock in okay, I thought it was more nuanced than this. I thought my understanding was more nuanced than this, but it's seeming like I just think it's a really small stock. And that is the end of my
Yeah.
answer.
So that's a good definition. It's not necessarily a small stock. It's just priced really low. Like it's usually
Okay.
like $1, or I mean, it could be a penny. Like people, it could literally be worth a penny. But yeah.
Okay.
So a penny stock, excuse me, it's kind of like a method of investing where you put in like $100 or even $1,000 into these really tiny stocks that are only worth $1. So you own 1,000 stocks of this one company, and you're hoping that they just double their stock or triple their stock to $3, and you triple your money really quickly.
I see.
So it's kind of
Okay.
a get rich quick strategy. It's very risky. It almost never works. If you're just a layman out there learning the stock market, I would not recommend trying it.
Interesting, because I think penny stocks, I think a bunch of really small stocks in a
Yeah.
bunch of different companies, it sounds so safe to me. Is it all different companies?
No, so it's all one company, usually. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's you're betting on this
I see.
one
I see.
company to do really, really well. So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That is risky. That makes sense.
Right, right. And yeah, it's usually kind of people that gamble like to like them, basically.
Okay. Okay, so I might be interested, but that'll be for another time.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah, so that's a penny stock. Um, okay, here's another good one. Do you know what an IPO is?
Oh, dang. I definitely have heard of this. I've definitely heard my wife just clamoring about an IPO before, but investment portfolio opportunity. Final guess.
That's not a bad guess, honestly. I've heard worse.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, an IPO is an initial public offering. So that
Okay.
probably doesn't make much more sense. But when a company is private, they don't have public shares of the company. So you can't buy stock in companies like Chick-fil-A or
Right.
I'm trying to think of other private companies. But
Chick-fil-A is the example you used in your last podcast, so that
yeah,
is also the only one I know because that's my source of information.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of private companies that I'm not thinking of, but Chick-fil-A is a good example
Hmm.
because it's just memorable. But yeah, so you
Very.
can't buy stocks in Chick-fil-A. So when a company goes public, they have what's called an IPO or initial public offering, and that's when
Okay.
they'll choose the price of their stock right away. And when you pay for that stock right then they actually get that money directly to them. So it's not traded yet. It's just being offered at this price.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
a really successful company has a really high IPO, and then like a smaller, less extensive company or a newer company would have a smaller IPO.
right, exactly. So the one
Okay.
in recent memory uh, that you may or may not have heard of is Reddit. Actually, recently went public, and they had a very successful IPO. So a lot of people bought their stock right off the bat.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that's an IPO, and those are also pretty risky. If you like, you could go in and buy someone right when they're going public, but a lot of times it's not something you've heard of. Like Reddit is kind of an outlier in that you've probably heard of it before. But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's
Yeah.
some company that's just like brand new and they're trying to raise a bunch of money, and they may or may not succeed. So, yeah,
I see. Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's IPO. Let's see how long we've been going here. We've been going about 15 minutes. I'm like halfway through, but let's just do like two more, one or two more.
One or two more. Let's do it.
Um, here's a good one. Do you know what a market cap is?
A market cap.
Yeah.
A market cap clearly is uh, that's the ceiling they put onto the stock market prices. It's just a quick guess in reference to my basic knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. So the full name, I guess, is market capitalization. It's just a fancy way of saying
Okay.
how much a company is worth. So it's literally
Oh,
taking the price of a share and then multiplying it by their total shares. So let's say there's a company with
oh,
100
okay.
shares and their stock price is $10, then their company's worth $1,000 because that's 10 times 100.
Interesting. Okay, cool. And then how do you use the term market cap? Like in a sentence, would they, how do they use that verbiage?
Yeah, yeah, good question. So you could say, for example, Apple is the biggest company in the world. It has the highest market cap. So you could say that Apple's market
Hmm.
cap is $1 trillion or whatever it is these days.
Okay, so it is something, or it has a high market cap. I see.
Right,
That makes
right,
sense.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, for example, I think Microsoft is or was the second highest biggest company, but then Nvidia recently overtook them. So it's like so you would say like Nvidia's market cap just passed Microsoft's or something like that.
You said which company? Nvidia?
Nvidia, yeah. Do you know Nvidia?
So a company that I've never heard of just passed Microsoft
Well, so
market cap.
they make what's called semiconductors or chips, like for computers.
Okay. Like micro tech.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So since AI has taken off, Nvidia has also taken off because they need those chips to train AI models, and so there's a lot of
Yeah.
demand for Nvidia's chips because they're considered to be the best chips in the world.
Interesting. So kind of a back end thing. Everybody needs it, but you don't really know about it. That makes
Right,
sense.
right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, it's recently came on the scene as this. Here's another good term as a unicorn. Do you know what a unicorn is?
Unicorn, I think of sports. Sports is something I am quite knowledgeable in. When they bring in a really unique prospect like Victor Wembanyama, Kristaps Porzingis, right? They call him a unicorn. I feel like it's got to have something to do with that train of
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
right?
it's kind of
Very
like
unique.
that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's like when it's like well, Nvidia is not a really good example, but it's like a brand new company that just shoots out among the others and is just
Hmm.
super successful right off the bat. So yeah,
Okay,
that's a unicorn.
interesting. So
Yeah,
much verbiage. I love it.
people always say at the college I go to that they're going to start the next unicorn. Right? That's the goal for them.
Okay. Okay,
But
interesting.
yeah,
It's a solid goal, solid goal.
right,
Very
right.
specific. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's good enough for today, but maybe we'll hit the rest of these sometime later.
I would love to. I'll go back. I'll review my notes. Test me next time. I'll be ready. We'll get a killer review in.
Yeah, yeah. That was a super fun episode, though. I'm glad you could join.
Yeah, I look for. I'll hope to join some more in the future, and it was good to join this time.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thank you for listening. For those of you who are listening, and I'll leave the usual links in the description. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for watching.
See ya.